This is the 20th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning, and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. It is, we'll just call it championship week now. We have Red Crest kicking off in 2 days on Lay Lake, and then the practice for the Bassmaster Classic kicks off. Well, let's just ask our in-studio guest, Kyle Patrick, Elite Series rookie, top 20 in the AOY standings after two events, and you flew into town. You won the last open or next to last open on Lake of the Ozarks last year. And as a result, you're competing in the 2024 Bassmaster Classic on Grand Lake. So thanks for taking time to stop by the BTL studio today.
Yeah, man. It's
talking to the mic.
Yeah, sorry
you can
everyone.
Like pull it towards you so you don't have to like lean in.
No, yeah, it's really cool to be here. Obviously, I've watched the show for a long time, so coming into this room, very nostalgic setup, and just being here is neat for me, you know.
Cool.
But yeah, and you know, to top it off, headed to the Classics. Practice starts Friday.
Yeah.
So you know, a lot of new things for me.
What is do you know off the top of your head the Classic practice schedule? Because every year it's way, so everyone sees final day Super Six come in, they do the video, the smoke, and they're like, okay, that's cool, that guy won 300 grand.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people I think don't realize about the Bassmaster Classic is you guys are used to rolling in town. You practice 2.5 days. Well, you've only had two tournaments like that. You practice 2.5 to 4 days, then you fish for 2, 3, or 4 days. You're done. It's a nice 6-day package. You're out of there. You're on to the next one. Break down a little bit on how Classic Week is, because it is an absolute grinder,
dude. It's so complicated that I still don't have. Here's what I know. Okay. I'll tell you what I know. Friday is a full day of practice, right?
Like
and we're still a week.
This Friday.
We're still, Friday is 1 week.
So that would be March. Wait, what is it? Oh yeah, March 15th.
Yeah,
is your first day of official practice, and the Classic starts on March 22nd.
Yeah, okay. So Friday is the first day of where we can be on Grand since January 1st.
Okay,
so they cut it off Saturday and Sunday. Those Friday, Saturday, Sunday of this week is you can be on the water, sun up, sundown.
Okay,
and then Monday, there are things going on that I don't quite know yet. Like, you know, I have the schedule. There's just, dude, they give you a schedule and it is jam-packed. Yeah. Like every minute of every day there, every minute you are doing something 100% that you don't know off time.
Media
photos, you know, maybe a walkthrough thing, whether it be for, you know, like the day of the Classic or like how this is going to work. And there's so much going on. So that's Monday. Tuesday, I believe Wednesday is a fit. Like we get one more day of practice,
and that's where they do like the run through the national anthem. You'll have you can't have an observer. You fish a normal day. So I remember back in,
but it's not a practice day. It would be like
it's your official practice day,
right?
Your one official. Because I remember when Casey Ashley won the Classic on Hartwell, he had to be in the penalty box before he was able to take off on day one of the Classic, because his time on his graph was wrong. This was on a practice day, and he came
official practice
on
day.
His official one practice day, because you have your 3 days of practice and then your official, and he came in late on his official practice day, so he had to sit in the penalty box before he could take off on day one. He still won the damn thing.
That's pretty cool. So I believe it's like you have to, you know, you launch at the same time you're going to launch on day one. Everything's the exact
same. It's a dry
same.
run.
Yep, dry run. And then I believe the night of the champions is Thursday, I want to say.
And you have media day in there.
Media day is Thursday, and then the night of the champions is
that night.
I believe. There's been so much, because, you know, remember, like, being, I have family coming, friends. So I'm trying to, like, there's some coordinating that goes on. Like, it's a lot of, it's a lot of planning. And I've done some planning for, some of my sponsors with their booths. Like, I've kind of helped them.
You don't want to ever see the expo. That's your goal.
Yeah, hopefully.
No expo.
But yeah, no, it's a lot to take in, and also a childhood dream, obviously, to fish the Classic. So
you haven't experienced. Have you been to Classics though? Like, have you watched weigh-ins?
Dude, I am the biggest fan of this sport. Like I said, like, all the history, I care about it probably more than I should in some situations, right? I have never been to a Bassmaster Classic. And 3 years ago, I was going to go, right? But then I had a wedding, and then the next year I had another wedding on the day of the Classic. So I was like, you know what?
Do weddings.
What?
That's why I don't do weddings.
Right. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I won't go to a Classic until I'm fishing one. And then it happened. And so it just happened to be.
So are you glad that you've done it, or now do you wish that you had kind of seen what it was so you would maybe not be as in awe, so to speak?
Yeah, because I think that's part of why it's so difficult for someone to win that hasn't been to a Classic or fished in a Classic before, because there's so much going on. There's so much coming at you, media and the attention, and just all of the, like, the change in practice. It's a lot to, overcome to then win a 3-day tournament against the best anglers in the world. I feel like, so yes, when I was driving, when I was driving here, I flew in here. I was thinking to myself, I would have liked to see how everything lays out and, like, all that, but we're still going to give it hell.
So then you hear some people that say, man, I'm going to get my feet under myself. I'm going to enjoy the Classic. I'm going to enjoy the Night of Champions. I'm going to do all that. Have you struggled or thought about how you're going to kind of handle the experience versus the performance aspect of it?
Yeah, like I said, I've never had, I can't even really imagine. All I'm focusing on right now is the Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
So I plan to attack the Classic, let's call it. I plan to attack it in segments. So I'm going to have 3 days of grinding, right? Yeah. And that's what I'm focusing on right now. Like, I could care less about any of the media right now. I want 3 days of good practice. And I'm going to do it a little bit differently because we have that time in between.
Yeah.
You have to practice a little bit differently. And I think that can make or break a Classic, is how you practice. Because it's, like I said, everyone knows it's a week before we actually start. And then, I'm going to try to enjoy, because I actually like, talking with people and, teaching people about, baits or, certain things, and doing media. I do enjoy that. A lot of people don't. Maybe it's because I'm still very young in my career. I think I really like, exploring our industry, and through media, I feel like it's something I enjoy, right? So I'm going to take that in a segment, and then that official practice day is, the last sort of, like, that's step 3. It would be, where I'm fully locked in, not thinking about anything else. Then after that, the Night of Champions is going to be challenging for me.
Why is that?
Because I'm going to be thinking about fishing, and it's going to be hard for me to enjoy the Night of Champions because I feel like my mind's going to be.
They do have an open bar at Night of Champions.
Dude, I just don't know if I can take advantage of it the way I would want to, because maybe I'll have a couple just to, ease the nerves, but I'm going to be super.
You going suit, tux?
Yeah.
Like, what are we going?
I'll go suit.
Okay.
Full suit.
That's impressive. Yep. I feel like that. So I went to the Night of Champions in 1998.
Okay.
Because I got invited for Casting Kids. And then I also was there, like, when we filmed the documentary called the 49th Classic. But other than that, like, you just get to see everybody. I think in 98, that was a black tie affair. So, like, I rented a tux for that. Yep. My parents were there. I was 14 years old, 13 years old. And everyone else wore a tux. It's kind of like dressed down a little bit now.
Yeah.
I think it needs to go back to the black tie,
Dude,
the tux, the 3-piece suit, that type of thing. Like, I mean, it's the one night.
It's the
one night a year.
Anyone in fishing, it's the one night that you need to look good. Like, not wearing, an Afghan samurai or whatever, like, and shorts and baggy shorts. Like, I just think that I owe it to the sport, right? The history behind it. Because remember, I don't know, probably a lot of viewers remember, like, you couldn't have your wives. Like, it used to be very strict, the Classic, how it was laid out. So I feel like the least I can do is, wear a suit, white button down, nice tie, nice shoes, belt, like everything is like nice. I feel like, I can't show up my rookie or my first Classic and look like a maybe. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that's my personal opinion.
So are you like, do you already know, are you like one of the last boats out on day one since you were an open winner?
Probably. Actually, I think it's randomized.
Okay.
Now that I think about it, I think I'll have to check my email. I got a lot of emails I need to go over.
Really? Do you take care of all this yourself, or do you have like people that help you? Like
No, I do it all. And I probably I'm probably the most annoying to deal. Like, Bassmaster's probably like, oh, Kyle sent us another email, because I'm always like making sure
trust me,
that
I'm always calling.
yeah. Like Ronnie Moore, dude, like he's just probably like, dude, Kyle just has to stop texting me. Because I want to make sure I'm doing everything right. Like, I am a big proponent. Like, I'm a rule follower. I want to make sure I'm not doing anything wrong or stepping out of line. And, that's how I feel like I do it best, is like making sure I'm crossing all my T's and dotting my I's.
But verbs to describe your excited, intimidated, indifferent, anticipate. Like, what would you describe your feelings? Because there might be a couple people listening who may be qualified for a Classic through a Bass Nation, or guys who are listed in who have fished Classics before. But for the rest of us, like, we have not experienced that feeling of being like, hey, we're going into the Bassmaster Classic. So what does that feel like right now? Plus, you're a little bit of an excitable guy.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. So what's weird was when I won Ozarks, I was so stressed about Harris Chain that I didn't get to experience, like, I'm going to the Classic, right?
Okay.
Like, I knew that I was in, and I knew that I just won, but I was so worried about making the Elite Series that I didn't like allow it to hit me.
Okay.
Right. When I'm qualified for the Elites, every so often I'll be driving down the road and I'll just like start like freaking out. I'll be like, let's go, dude. Like, I'm in the Classic. Like, I'll just call my buddy and we'll just talk about that I'm in the Classic and how crazy it is. Right.
Yeah.
So I've gotten a lot of that out over the, and then, after Fork, when I had a really good derby, got a century belt, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I knew that like the Classic was the next derby, so I really got excited, right?
Yeah.
I'm stoked to fish in the Classic.
Dave Mercer just texted me. He said Night of Champions is Wednesday night, not Thursday.
Shoot, yeah. See, I
knew reading
knew
those emails. Should be texting Ronnie more.
Dude, you put me on the spot. I have it all.
Well, no, I just wanted to give the people an
I
idea of. I mean, like, so look, we're like the next 7 days. There's a lot of stuff on the plate, but it's also cool because it is the Bassmaster Classic. I don't think you'd want it. I don't think you would want it any other way. I don't think you would want it to feel comfortable, would want it to feel familiar.
Nope.
Because I know there's some guys, guys who have won it who are like, man, it's the once a year thing. I take it all in. I take it in stride. It's out of my routine. And then you have other guys who like skip the Night of Champions and avoid everything and stay at a different place and don't want anything because they want to keep it like the routine. I think that's got to be just an individual basis.
Yeah, I'm not that guy. I'm going to be doing everything I can. Pete Robbins has already reached out. He's like, hey, can I maybe ride along, do media for one of the days?
Okay,
like,
cool. I got Pete on Tuesday, the 19th, just before the Classic.
Okay,
we're going to preview Grand and talk about some stuff.
Cool. So. Yeah, Pete knew me when I was like, when I first ever started, like my first Bassmaster event as a co-angler. I knew Pete way before.
How'd you meet him?
So,
because you're both East Coast.
Yeah. Pete, so I went on a trip. So the way I got into, I marshaled all the Elites and fished.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
When did you what year did you marshal? Well, this will be a roundabout story, but if you say something,
2021.
3 years ago.
Yeah. I think it was 2021. Yeah. So yeah, 2021, I fished the Centrals as a boater,
okay,
a pro, and then I marshaled all the elites and fished 6 of the opens as a co. Okay, so and it was all paid for because Pete, a mutual friend of Pete and I, his name's Paul Pagnato. He'll be at the Classic.
Oh yeah, he used to have the BK racing team.
Yep. You got it. You know, dude,
and the
you know
BK
everything.
fishing team with Kurt Dove.
Yeah, he is independently wealthy.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff behind the scenes in the industry.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Yeah, good dude. And he sort of took me under his wing and was like, hey, like, you know, you seem like you have it.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, I drove his truck and boat to every tournament, every open event.
The BK fishing team boat.
No.
Was it after?
At this time it was. Yeah, okay. That was after. And, you know, he introduced me to Gerald, John Cruz, Chad Morgan Taylor. He tried to like get me involved. Right. And that's how I sort of have progressed.
Okay.
And that was a huge help. But anyway,
back to how we ended up meeting Pete. Oh, so you just met Pete through that process? Yep,
through that process and at El Salto because Paul was like, hey, you want to come to El Salto? Okay. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I met Pete.
So you did the Anglers In thing with him and Hannah and went down there.
Yeah. Right. And
I got to get on that. So I'm with, I work with Pro Bass Adventures.
Yeah.
And they have lodge in El Salto, and we have a BTL trip booked for December.
Okay.
Honestly, the first 3 events, my schedule's been absolutely insane. You can see it up there. I've like haven't been home at all. So I will have more details on that. He's from Pro Bass Adventures is actually going to be at the Bassmaster Classic. So I'm going to meet with him. And then I think we have like 8 or 9 spots open for that and a potential for another 15 spots the week before. So, wow. I mean, my goal is to spend 11 days down on El Salto. And then like at night, like we all come in and do like the BTL stuff. You have like a big bass pod every night and stuff like that.
God, I love fishing. It's so cool.
I love fishing on El Salto. I can tell you that.
Like, I mean, Salto, dude, it's 30 pounds every day.
I went down there and like, dude, I grind, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not a freak show artist. Like that's what Hallman used to always say to me was like, dude, you got to learn how to freak show. And I was like, well, if you don't freak show, you zero. Right. Which I proved this past weekend at I didn't zero, but at Santee because I knew you'd have to freak show. But you go down there, and I mean, after like a day, I just looked at my buddy Darren, and I was like, dude, I needed this. Like, I needed a deal where like you cast, you get a bite, and you jack on 100 fish a day, and you catch 25 to 6 pounders a day. Yep. And you know, I caught a 9, an 8, a couple 7s. It was like good for my ego and my soul to be like, okay, this is how bass can behave and how aggressive they are. And maybe we're giving them too much credit. So anyway, that's a cool story on how you met Pete.
Yeah. And I told him then, I said, I'm going to make the Elite Series. And he was like, he wrote an article about it on Bassmaster. And he was like, honestly, I looked at him and I thought 0 chance. 0 chance. Because I was just like, you know, another kid, right, that had just said that. So it's a cool progression of our relationship, right? Like he, you know, I told him that, and then we would talk occasionally, and now like, you know, he writes, you know, some articles for me, like not for me, but about me. And he's incredible.
Almost all the ghostwriting that you see and a ton of articles. Pete does that for a ton of different anglers. He does a bunch behind the scenes. Their website, him and Hannah run it, is called halfpastfirstcast.com. They do a bunch of really cool adventure trips, and you know, he's like a government lawyer.
Yeah.
Or he does something like that, but he's worked it to where he's
smarter than you and I.
Yeah. No, he's very smart.
I sorry to assume that he's smarter than you, but I know he's smarter than me.
He's way smarter than me. Hold on. I got to text Ledoux here. We have so do you call Cranford Pig?
Cranford?
Yeah. That's his nickname. That's what everyone around here calls him.
No, but I'm going to start.
I mean, you've seen his truck and boat and how
he is.
Everyone calls him Pig. So anyway, your buddies with Cranford, you had your boat at his house, Austin Cranford.
Yeah.
Doing well in the open. So you and him are going to jump in a boat, and then me and Kevin Ledoux, the old heads now, former Elite Series pro. We got to bounce after this because we have a long drive to get to this lake we're going to, but we're going to jump in and have a 2v2.
Oh yeah.
And maybe put a couple, what is it called? A greenback, couple greenbacks, Somalians, Franklins on it. And then I need to add to the, to the dollar autograph.
Yeah, that is cool.
So anyway, he's sitting outside. I said, just come
cool.
in the house. So.
Okay.
No, that's cool. It's amazing in this sport to me. Like you mentioned, Paul Pagnato, which I don't know him personally. I just know him through other people. And then you mentioned Pete and all that. It's amazing. You're talking $1 billion industry. You're going to go to the Classic. If you go to the Classic Expo, there's literally tens of thousands of people around. But it's like 2 degrees of separation, not 6 degrees. Everybody knows somebody who knows you, which I think you're aware of because of how you're trying to start your career on the right foot, make connections, do the right thing. I mean, that's got to be, I know that's something that not a lot of rookies realize early in their career is how small interactions in the present can impact major decisions 5-10 years down the road. And
major, income, like, because for you, for a lot of people in the industry, it's not guaranteed income every year, right? And so small interactions, like, people don't realize how important a bar conversation at ICAST or, like stopping someone walking through the Classic, right? Those little things matter more than winning a tournament or, posting on social media.
And winning a tournament's fairly
right. I'm making a point. Like, but my point. Look, like, I'm sure Trey has done
pretty high in like career development.
I'm making a point though, like those small interactions matter so much because, like you said, it's a 2-degree separation, and the guy that you think does not matter, he's not wearing any brands. He's just walking down the middle of the ICAST. Like, he could be massively influential. And so you got to treat everyone. I mean, this is basics, but like you got to treat everyone like they're important.
Like you'd like to be treated.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's basic stuff. I don't think people do that a lot.
I try to. So we're not going to obviously dive into Grand very much, but I want to talk a little bit about it. Then we'll take our first break, and then we'll come back on a Wednesday. Did you come down and pre-practice and put in time? Like, I know in December, I saw especially a lot of the rookies like move down here for like a month. Like,
no,
every single day on the water. Like, I heard one of them like skipped Christmas right, and Thanksgiving so they could spend every single day on the water. Like, is that an accurate statement? Like,
that is.
Okay, so that wasn't an urban legend?
Dude, no. I'm not blaming anyone for doing it.
Yeah.
Right? If you can do it, sure, whatever. I have a family. I don't have kids, but I have a girlfriend that I've been with for 6 years. Lovely, by the way, Caroline.
Well done.
And my parents, my sister, like, I have to be, I try to put everything I can into fishing, but I also, so to answer your question, I was here for 4 days, because it's the Bassmaster Classic. And I felt like, you know what, I'm going to drive down. I hit I hit Toledo Bend for about 4 hours, because when I came down here, it was blowing 40 miles an hour and
lovely
35 degrees. So I barely got any practice time in there. Didn't matter. I just, was on my way. And then Fork, I spent like 6-8 hours on, did a day. And then I went to Grand, because I was like, I just want to idle around. I want to just get a feel for this place. And I wanted to throw my jig. I wanted to, just mess around and really more, drive the whole lake and idle some areas and look around. So yes, I was here for 4 days, and there were people here for 30. Does that help? I don't know, but I feel confident in my, 4 days here. And I think, I just don't know if that much longer would have helped me that much.
Grand is not a mystery lake. It's not like the first time it was ever been here.
Right.
It's the first time in this era, let's just call it an era, that there's been a major tournament on Grand. But are you going into it with, and don't go into like how you plan, but are you going into it with like, this is what I hope develops. This is how I plan on catching them. Are you envisioning catching fish a certain way in a certain particular type of the lake? Or are you putting the boat in and trying to wipe the slate as clean as possible and then just fish the conditions for what you think the Classic will be? Because it's a weird weather year this year, too. It's like really, really weird weather year this year.
I like that it's warm.
Okay.
I'll say that. I like that it's warm. I did not want it to be, a solely offshore deal. Like I want to have to mix. I think I do best when I can do both and they're kind of split.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want the fish to be wanting to get shallow, but still have somewhat of a population out here,
mm-hmm.
but then also have a solid population in, because I want to be able to have like spots where I can bounce. Like I feel like I do best when I can, have 2 or 3 zones that I can bounce in between and that are very different,
mm-hmm.
right? Because then I feel like I can expand more throughout a tournament. And I think you have to do that in the Classic because everyone's swinging for the fence. And from my understanding, right? Like you're not trying to get a top 10 for points, right? Everyone, you got to catch them so good every day. And so I want to, the day one of the Classic, I envision, really dialing in 3 zones, but I want them to be, like I said, two out of the 3 or 1 out of the 3 needs to be very different so that I can potentially, use that to progress throughout the next 2 days.
A lot of young guys, rookies, open winners that are coming into this thing with a lot of momentum after the first 2 events. Traditionally, Classic favorites have done very well. I mentioned Casey Ashley, Edwin Evers, on Gray, and the list kind of goes on and on. Do you still feel like there is let's just face it, Jason Christie's the best there's ever been on Grand. Probably the best there ever will be on Grand.
That's a fact.
The dude is dialed in. He just made a public post on his Instagram that he's super excited that his finesse spinning rods came in. And it blew my mind that we're in mid-March on Grand and Jason Christie is pumped that his spinning rods came in. Do you think that there is even a home lake local advantage, or at this point, after what you've seen in the first 2 Elite Series, after what you saw in the Opens last year, do you think that there's maybe even a disadvantage now going into Grand, being intimately familiar with that body of water?
Man,
is that a fair question?
It's such a fair question. And I look, to say that there's not a home lake advantage, like, there's a home lake curse, but there's definitely a home lake advantage. This guy knows how to pull into a cove and fish one dock with that specific brush pile there and catch a 4-pounder. And that can be huge. So there's 100% a home lake advantage. And that could have been, he could have posted that to throw you off.
Oh, he could have called a red herring.
He could have.
That might be called a red herring. Let me look that up.
He could be posting that as a sponsorship thing. Like, you never know. Like, I'm telling you, Jason Christie's going to catch him, and he is going to do a lot of his damage not on a spinning rod.
A red herring is something that misleads or distracts from a relevant or important question.
Mm-hmm.
It may be either a logical fallacy or a literary device that leads readers or audiences towards a false conclusion.
I'm going to say this. You will not see me throwing a minnow.
Really?
You will not.
Do you think there will be guys that are throwing minnows in this Classic?
Yep.
You think there's guys whose game plan going into Friday, day 1 of the Classic, will be minnow?
They will have 4 minnows on the front of their boat.
Demiki rigs, mid-strolling, whatever you want to call it.
100%. And I promise you, if I make day 3 and I have a camera and you see me with a minnow, I owe you $1,000.
Okay. You heard it here first.
No, and I will pay it.
Not in the game plan.
But as long as the $100 bill, it has to get framed and put up there. One of the 100s.
You want me to have some of your side money? That's not how that works. You don't want to have.
Oh, no, I want it. Because I want it. Like, I'm telling you right now, I will not have a minnow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And plus, if I make the top 10, I'm going to be so excited anyway.
You want to make the top 6?
Top 6. Sorry. If I make the top 6, I'll be so excited I won't worry about paying my debt to you.
You want to make the top 6. All right. Anything pertinent, classic that you want to get in before we take our first break, and then we'll dive into what the first quarter of your Elite Series season has been like?
I think that's all I'm going to give.
All right. We are in studio March 13th, 2024 with Elite Series rookie Bassmaster Classic qualifier and Bassmaster Opens champion Kyle Patrick. Will be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Look at that beast right there.
My Pro Guide batteries keep me going on those long tournament days and long practice days. Always plenty of juice, never fail. The best part about Pro Guide batteries, it's the people behind the company. They have over 40 years experience in the battery business, keeping all of us fishermen out on the water longer, catching more fish. Check them out at ProGuideBatteries.com.
I'm the kind of guy that never leaves the house without a pocket knife, and Gamakatsu's come out with the EDC series of knives. EDC stands for Everyday Carry, so whether you're on the water or off, you can always have it with you. The best thing about it to me is that assisted open feature. With this D2 blade, you've got it right here at your fingertips, so if you can't find your scissors, you need to cut a knot, you need to cut your braid, you've always got it. Make sure you check it out. Never leave home without your Gamakatsu EDC knife.
Born in Japan, using technology, innovation, and precision, Sunline produces the widest selection of fishing lines at the most technologically advanced line factory in the world. Manufactured at the strictest tolerances to produce victories at the highest levels of tournament bass fishing. From household names like Christie, Swindle, and Cruz, to young guns like Cook, Logan, New, and Welcher, they all trust Sunline to take them to the top of the leaderboard. Choose the line that will give you the strength to guarantee your confidence. Sunline.
Yes. Fishing isn't just a hobby, it's an obsession. Whether it's blazing hot or bitterly cold, bright sunshine, raining, or even snowing, someplace, somewhere, there's a fish that's ready to bite. And as the angler, you need baits that will catch the fish anywhere, anytime, no matter the conditions. From throwing topwaters to cranking the depths, know the baits to throw. Choose Spro.
Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronics setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com. Welcome back, BTL on Wednesday. Kyle Patrick in studio. A little bit of a cool inside look into a classic week. I mean, you don't get the opportunity to kind of sit down with the first-time classic guy very often. I'd be interested after we kind of talked for half an hour about what you expected it to be like to jump back on after the classic while it's kind of still fresh and after you've decompressed, and then talk about what you thought it would be like, what it was actually like, what you excelled at, what you struggled with. I mean, hell, you might win the damn thing and then it'll be a little rough getting you on immediately afterwards. But I think that would be a cool kind of show after the classic to get you on, to be like, 100%. This is what I thought driving down. This is what it was actually like.
I have a lot of time after. So if
you right now, you have a lot of time after. Like
if I win it, especially if it's on a minnow, I'll be coming back here.
You'll be coming back here, write me a check. I do know one of the cool things that they have at the classic, and I think they still have it, is they have this thing called the decompression room. Have you ever heard of that?
Is it like after you get on stage, you can
you get on stage, they do the deal, the confetti comes down, you do your lap with the American flag. It's like just go, go, go.
My heart's going to be literally visibly pumping.
Yeah. So that's why they have that. So then they have like a room with a couch and water and stuff, and your immediate family can go in there, and then they put you in there for 15 or 20 minutes to like chill out. Someone from Bass comes in, explains to you like what the next 3 or 4 hours is going to be like for you, what you're going to do. And then they take you to the press conference afterwards. But it's literally called like the decompression room. So it's not just like straight from the stage to the podium for the interview and you're just like geeked out.
I couldn't have anyone in my family in there immediately after, because they'd all be so excited. And I would need to be in there by myself, like locked in there like a child.
Yeah.
Okay. Like if I won the Classic, that'd be insane.
I mentioned how the rookies are doing this year. Currently 2 events into the Elite Series season. It's one of those deals where, you have a couple events and you have the Classic, then you get right back to it. You have 7 rookies in the top 15, 8 of the 10 rookies, because you also have a Bass Nation champion in there. So 8 of the 10 rookies are currently inside the projected Bassmaster Classic cut of the top 40, and all 10 of the rookies are in the top 50. First time in the history of the Elite Series since its inception in 2006 that all 10 of the newcomers and I'm taking the switch in 2019 out of it, when they just brought a bunch of guys over from the FLW tour out of it. But qualifying rookies, first time that's ever happened, even remotely close. Like, it was a big deal when Derek Remitz won as a rookie. It was a big deal when Casey Ashley won as a rookie on Smith Mountain. It was a big deal when rookies qualified for the Classic. Like, literally every single rookie is in the top 50 right now, all 10, including I think like 3 in the top 5.
I finished 21st and 9th in my first 2 Elite Series events, and I'm in 11th place in AOY. I would probably be in, like, if it weren't for the rookies,
because you're a rookie, you can't refer to them as
rookies. You're right. If it weren't for my peers, I would probably be in like 5th or 4th.
Yeah. And then there'd be a bunch of guys that were having better seat. Does that surprise you? Have you guys talked about that? Did you guys expect to come in? I mean, I know you talk with someone. Who are you? Robert G, is it?
No, Wesley Gore.
Wesley Gore.
Yeah.
I get those two confused.
Yeah.
Wesley Gore. Like, do you guys talk? Is it just what you expect? You've caught him, you haven't not caught him, or have you had a couple of moments where you're like, dude, we're like not only hanging, we're thriving?
Dude, like, if I were to say I expected that to come in, I feel like that, like, if it were true, I would tell you that. But no, I mean, the Elites is like, they were on a pedestal. They are still on a pedestal for me. The Greg Hackneys, the Gerald Swindle, everyone on the Elite Series, right? They were, to me, like untouchable. Like, they were like the gold standard, right? Mm-hmm. So I always looked at them and it was daunting. When I made the Elites, like, I was excited, but I was like, holy smokes, like, I'm about to compete against like my childhood heroes, literally, right? And it's a weird feeling. So coming into it, I'm thinking to myself, I mean, man, I would just love to cut a check in my, one of the 2 even. Like, I obviously wanted to do really well, but I didn't expect to be in the top 15 in AOI. I mean, that's thriving. Yeah, really thriving. And to make a top 10, like, it's not easy to do. And, I certainly didn't expect it. I think I wrote an article about having imposter syndrome. Like, I had a little bit of that going into the Elite Series. So I might've been different. Maybe some other guy, some other of the rookies maybe expected it, but I was like so in awe that I had made it that I was kind of like, I couldn't expect to do well, right? Yeah. Like, I wasn't in the mindset to do well because I was still shocked and, like, humbled that I had made the Elite Series. That's for me personally,
I don't know if you've talked about this. You just go into it however deep you want, but I've had a lot of conversations with people behind the scenes, and some of the vets have not been thrilled with the rookie class. Like, have not been overwhelmingly welcoming to them. I'll state it that way. Is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement.
I'm conflicted on this. I don't know it. What are your thoughts on that? What did you think it would be like with the veterans? And like I said, I don't want to put you on the spot here or say anything bad, but I'm surprised. I'm surprised, but then I'm also not surprised, and I'll tell you my thoughts on it after. But it hasn't been like a warm and fuzzy feeling.
No,
coming over to the Elite Series,
definitely not.
What did you expect, and then what's kind of been the vibe like?
So, like I said, I mean, they're all my like.
Yeah.
So
you understand
I'll say
the
this.
history.
Bill Lowen came. I'm gonna tell you right now that dude's a good dude.
Yeah.
He came up after Fork, like it kind of gave me goosebumps. Right. He came up after I made the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
He walked up to me and shook my hand and said, "Good job."
Mm-hmm.
That's literally the only, in my opinion, like, guy that you'd look up to, right? That came up to me and was like, "Good job," and shook my hand. I have not gotten one, like, I mean, here and there, like, but in a time where we were getting a lot of scrutiny, he walked up and I think he shook every rook like that. We're in the top 10. He shook every one of our hands. So I was like, I messaged him on Instagram. I was like, dude, thank you. Like, it's nice to get like a good job, dude. Like,
like, does that create like an awkward feeling amongst the rookies? Because there's a lot of guys. Well, I mean, you've got Trey McKinney who just goes out and catches fish and he's not incredibly versed in the deep history of Bassmaster lore.
Yeah.
But the majority of you guys, like, I mean, I know, like, you guys eat, sleep, live, breathe this stuff. What did you expect it to be like?
I didn't expect them to embrace me when I came in to try to take a check spot, right? Like I'm not like, it's dog eat dog, right? Like we're not out there like, hey buddy, like let's
different
go.
than the open.
Different than the opens. It's a lot of money on the line. There's careers on the line, right? Because there's a cut at the bottom, you get cut, right? But I guess I expected, me personally, I expected a little bit more. I mean, I don't want to go into detail on certain things, but like right off the bat, man, at Toledo, it was like, boom, hostile, like hostility, right? And I was taken back. I mean, I was like, I guess I see where they're coming from, or where a certain few are coming from, but dang, like, that was harsh.
I haven't really asked any other rookies. That could be a standard thing for the rookies coming in, but I don't ever remember it being discussed behind the scenes. Like, dang, like there's a lot of guys that are. Do you think why do you think it is? I'll just leave it at that.
I think there's a couple reasons. Okay. One, I think, let me preface by saying I am a diehard Bassmaster guy.
Yeah.
Love everyone that works at Bass. I appreciate everything they do. I think there are certain gray area rules that actually make anglers dislike anglers, right? There's a hostility because there's some rules that I think on the open side, right, lead for some guys coming into the elites, right? Like if you're solidified into the elites in the opens, yes. We'll say gray area straight up. If you know that you are in the Elite Series, you can go ahead and do whatever you want before you actually qualify for the Elite Series. Whatever you
knowing
want.
That there's a very high likelihood that you will be on the Elite Series the following year.
100%.
And it is legal.
Unfortunately, I couldn't take advantage of that.
Yeah, no, I was in
like 11, 9, 10. And that would have been bad juju.
Yeah, so you think that kind of started
off the hop? Right off the bat,
there were so many of the incoming class that were so dominant in the opens, they were like locked in.
Dude, people were locked in after the St. Lawrence, pretty much, right? Like needed to catch 3 bass on average a day.
Bass Fanatic says, "Don't be vague." I just told you exactly what the situation was with the hostility. You had guys who went and legally.
Well, this is alleged
for the Elite Series season before they qualified for the Elite Series, betting on themselves is all they were doing.
Right. This isn't this isn't for sure.
Yeah.
We're talking, this is why there was some hostility, because I think sometimes
you know how info goes around the fishing world.
Exactly.
One thing happens and 5 minutes later, everyone knows about
There's hostility there right off the bat because, you know, we can't get information on the schedule anyway. And then I think the new technology just creates hostility because, I mean, I'm talking about my idols of the sport, like, you know, Gerald, Greg. These guys are people that I look up to like, I hold them like here, right? Like the highest you can get. And they're upset with it. So it's conflicting for me because I'm like, these guys have been doing this longer than I was even a thought in my parents' mind. Like my parents weren't even married. Okay. And these guys, and they're really upset. So it's like, is it me? Like, and then we talked about this before we went live. Like, is it the rookies? Is it me? Like, why is there, you
think it would be there if you guys didn't have 7 rookies in the top 15 in the Angler of the Year right now?
That's for sure. If we were all struggling, because let's face it, was there this much controversy last year?
I don't remember in covering this since 2007, a year like that.
That's what that's true. But I'm just saying, like, Live Scope wasn't a top. We didn't have people walking up on stage when, you know, Joey and Kiyoya and all them were dominating, right? And to talk about Live Scope, I finished 80th, so I need to go home and get better at Live Scope, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying 80th. That was a random number.
Yeah.
And so I think, part of it has to do with the success that the rookies are having.
Do you think they should be nicer to you, or do you think, hey, you're at the top, these are the top guys in the freaking world, like, I've earned my spot here and it shouldn't be easy. I fully expect them to be extremely competitive and angry and saying, dude, we need to freaking buckle up and Dude, like, I mean, because I'm that way. Like, if you go to the NHL, I highly doubt that everybody that you're playing against is going to be like, "Oh, congratulations on making it to the show."
Yeah, man.
No, they're hacking your laces, slamming you, you know, challenging you to fights.
I'm not expecting to have the sweet, you know, embrace on the Elite Series. I guess it could be like, I think they're taking out a lot of anger on forward-facing sonar on the rookie class. That's what I think. And then we already are. There's already Live Scopes under scrutiny like crazy, right?
We just had Gene Gillen in studio yesterday. He's part of the tech committee for Bass. He kind of walked through all the steps that Bass are taking and why you're not hearing a lot about it right now. And I think it makes total sense.
Yeah. But look, I mean, I'm not expecting, but it is a weird thing, right? When your idols are really upset and it's kind of pointed at you. But now they're my peers and competitors, like fierce competitors, right? Like, so, no, I think that was just an eye-opening thing, right? The first 2 events, like being around these guys, a lot of them, like, you know, they're dude, I mean, I don't blame them, right? That's the thing. Like, I'm not complaining. This isn't me being like,
you've been super honest. It's been, I haven't, this is like a conversation I would have with you off air. We just freaking went for it.
Yeah. I mean, I take it as you will. Like, I'm truly, you know, I didn't expect, I don't even know what it, you know, I just think, it's a new world, like going from the open. It's a new thing. Maybe this is normal. Like you said, maybe it's literally cutthroat, but I just felt like I would be a little more friendly. You know what I mean? Just like a little more, like after an open, if I saw you get off the water, I'd be like, hey man, how's it going? You know, I walked past 2 anglers that I respect greatly. Okay. None that have been mentioned as yet on it. And I kind of like walked over, like I was going to say, hey, like, you know, good job or whatever. Dude, crickets. And they were talking about Live Scope and how it's ruining the sport. Literally, I could hear it. And that's fine, right? But I just felt like I kind of want to, like, I feel like I'm a friendly guy. People may get thrown off by my energy a little bit sometimes, but like, I want to be able to, you know, be like, hey, you know, just, you know, shoot the shit a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's fair.
But you know, it's the Elite Series, man. it's cutthroat, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Can we talk a little bit about fishing? I don't want to like throw. I don't want to like divulge secrets, but with what Williams is doing and you and a couple other guys. So a lot of the focus has been on the Demiki rig, the spinning rods on historic power fisheries, Fork, Toledo Bend, Santee Cooper, and the BPT. But there's a lot of guys doing it with 20-pound string, a heavy rod, and a jig.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the jig. I know Williams doesn't make any secrets about it. He throws the ugliest jig in the freaking world that I've ever seen. I mean, he's got that big freaking flapping hog on the back and the round rubber on it and stuff.
Dude,
and,
he's won so much money on that.
Dude, is that in your... What's the deal with the jig? With the forward facing, and what's the magic about the jig?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Look, you know how the jig has been a staple, right?
Since the beginning of time.
The beginning of time.
Yeah.
And like the biggest fish, big fish eat the jig.
Yeah.
Right? That's always been a thing. Like, I'm going to pick up the jig.
Yeah.
Because I want to catch a 5-pounder. Yeah.
If Hackney's flipping a beaver or a
Yeah.
striking rodent and he goes to the hack attack jig. If a guy's once he drags a big jig.
Yep.
Davey High with the mop jig and the Carolite's
Jordan
always
Lee
been
with the classic.
Jordan Lee with the classic.
Come on, dude.
Always
like
been a jig.
It's been a jig.
Okay.
And now, dude, you can drag a jig past individual fish. You can drag a jig past the exact, like before offshore, you had to mark, you had to fish around. Dude, you can drag the jig and cast the jig on their face, right? It's not easy. I'm not saying like it's easy, right? But you can be way more precise with a big jig. And when they're, the jig's really good without, like, when you're flipping docks or like, you're just fan casting randomly, not looking at any electronics, Mega 360, nothing, right? It's really good when their bite, I guess I'll call it surface area. Like their
bite window. When
their bite window is big, like when they're ready to, jump from one end of the table to the other to eat something, that's when it's good. But, when those fish have a bite window like this, it's the same thing now because you can target, literally put it that far from their face.
Is it more, it's not suspended fish though. It's so the skill, this is where I struggle. The skill is identifying not the Easter eggs that are 5 foot under the surface that you can cast to. The skill is identifying the fish that are on the bottom that look like the bottom or that are on the
that look like a
structure
rock
that you can't see.
Yeah.
And that's where this excels.
Yeah, and a lot of what I do on live scope, I'm not going to speak for Tyler, but I know he does a lot of this as well, is, dude, you got to, like, live scope's really good for structure.
Yeah.
Identifying, okay, look at that tree that's turned. We talked about it last week on Straightcast. The timber's like this, right?
Yeah.
And then there's one tree that's over like this. You can't even see fish on it, but I can see with my live scope, okay, I'm going to make 5 or 6 casts. I don't see a fish, but I'm going to make 5 or 6 casts where a fish might be. And a lot of times you see the structure, you cast your jig, it's falling, and then you can just watch literally out of nowhere a fish. You shoot down and they won't eat it on the fall a lot of times. And then what I do is I don't even look at my live scope anymore. That fish has locked on to my jig. So I just turn my face like this way and I just drag, and maybe I'll shake a little, drag, and all of a sudden, dunk. And you set the hook.
Crack him.
Right. So you just know, okay, there's either a fish behind it or my jig is in a really high percentage area. People that don't live scope a lot, they have this misconceived, misperceived, I guess it would be, like that every fish that you catch using live scope is like sitting in the middle of the water column, just relaxed, and then, oh, there's a bait, let's just eat it. Like, that's just never how it goes. That's rarely how it goes down.
It might
right?
go
And
down
you know that.
Today.
What?
It might go down that way today.
Well, yeah. I have heard.
Just fair warning.
Yeah. Right. But on, highly pressured lakes, right? Like that, it doesn't go down like that all the time. Yeah. And so it's also a confidence thing. Like, dude, he locks that thing in his hand.
Yeah.
Tyler he made the elites on a jig.
Yeah.
Period.
Oh yeah. Well, where?
Yeah.
And now we've seen it.
Yeah.
He just agility of a cat.
Peak male athleticism.
And the utmost confidence in an ugly jig.
Dude, he's got it.
Like
know?
this thing, the
He's
thing that
good
gets
with
me
it.
with the jig is
He's
like there's no swimming or anything.
He
Like
creates
it's
the
just a bulky hunk of plastic
and
with
metal.
that little jig.
Yeah. And he puts a bait with the least amount of action possible.
Yeah. Which makes total sense.
Yeah.
I mean, David Dudley's talked about it when Hallman created the BFE and we went in and cut everything up. We wanted least action. I mean, you talk about the minnow, you talk about a Cinco, you talk about a beaver. Like the most effective baits over time are the ones that have the least action.
Well, think about it. When a crayfish or a crawfish for my southern people, when it falls, it's not like going crazy like that. You know, a lot of the times it's just like kind of drifting down. And I think that's where, and then, you know, it gets on the bottom and it pumps its tail a little bit. And that's where you saw Tyler at Fork, he took his rod and he's like shaking it almost like he's hanging a minnow almost, or, you know, throwing a minnow, but that's on the bottom. I look, I'm not giving away it's deep, dark secret right now, but he's
live has done that pretty effectively.
Right. That's what I mean. Like that's very clear. You can watch him.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it is he's really good at finding areas.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize too about live. They're like, oh, you just put your trolling motor down. Dude, these guys are so good at finding specific areas that are holding giant fish that are on the bottom that no one can see. Like you put your live scope down, you'd pan around, you'd pick your trolling motor up and you'd leave.
That's how Coop won at in Tennessee on those smallmouth.
Yeah,
because
they were
went out
hugged.
and everyone went out and me included. We went out to the scope in Demiki holes and didn't see anything and made a couple casts. And
you didn't let your bait go all the way to the bottom.
He went out there and literally caught 60 a day. Interesting thing on Cherokee there. That was one of the first times. So 2 years ago, Tyler Williams and I like fished the same stuff every single tournament. And like it was like a running joke. Like I would see him everywhere.
No way.
So then at Cherokee there, I had like 4 on the second day and we're fishing the exact same spot. And he catches one and it doesn't help him. And he throws it back and we're like within talking distance. And I was like, damn, I've only got 4. And he's like, oh, dude, you should have said something. He's like, get over here. He goes, I'll leave. He goes, I don't think there's anything here that'll help me. He's like, you can catch your limit right here. And just like up and left. And I didn't even really know him that well. I thought that was super solid of him.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Here's the other thing. Last thing I'll say about our class.
Yeah.
There is not one bad dude. Truly.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm a decent judge of character.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just, I truly believe it. And every single one of the guys in our class would do, like if anyone on the Elite Series rolled up to me and was like, say like that situation, I would do that for any single one of them. Literally. And maybe that's to a fault. Sometimes it can be to a fault.
Yeah, no, I agree.
For me, like I think sometimes I'm too nice. And I think a lot of guys, dude, like we're all just good dudes that love to fish, that want to have a good time. Right.
I do want to save you some grief here. So you mentioned Hackney and Swindle as a veterans. You weren't like labeling them out of guys who have been actually like you were labeling them as the guys you held on the highest standard. As
the
veterans.
highest standard. Yeah. Dude, Gerald.
I just want to clear that up.
Gerald's a friend of mine. Like I'm not like, dude, both of them are solid dudes and had nothing
know
to
how the internet works.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna get that clipped and then they're gonna be like,
and then Hackney's gonna come and be like, heard you got a problem with me.
Yeah, I'd be like, no, sir. No. I'm what I was saying there was, you know, those two guys
who you hold on the highest
standard, you know, and they, you know, obviously they're talking about how the game's changing with forward facing and
what's wild to me is so Rick takes Cody Huff under his wing, goes out. Cody's all about technology and teaching Rick. I mean, the guy's fishing in his 50th year. I don't know what his plans are moving forward, but he's obviously in the second half of his career, I would imagine. he's got to be winding.
It's impossible for him not to be.
He's got to be winding down. and he is more intrigued and more open to learning and expanding that than almost any guy out there. And that's always been the case with Rick too. Like I know back in the day, like he would jump in Rojas's boat and be like,
yeah,
teach me the frog.
Yeah.
Or he would jump in someone else's boat and be like, teach me the crank, teach me this.
Dude, that's
and
what
like
I do.
he's never stopped. He's never closed-minded
Yep.
to what it is. He's always been in the pursuit. Now, I mean, there was a 6-year period where he only threw a square bill, but other than that,
only.
Yeah. That was like also the year where he almost won Falcon. But
yeah, I that is something that I can truthfully say that I feel like has helped me over my career more than anything. Marshalling these, I marshaled these guys 3 years ago, right? Think about that.
What's your best marshal story?
I was with Stetson Blaylock.
Yep.
And we were on the tennis. We were on, what was it? So it must have been, it's where Gussie won. Tennessee River.
Yeah.
Yeah. And dude, it was raining in 34 and I did not dress appropriately. I did not even come close. And I didn't want to be the guy that's like, dude, no, I have frostbite so badly. I got it on my hands. All like my whole toe was blue. And I was in the bottom of his boat hugging. Like I talked to him about it at Fork. I was hugging my knees in a ball in the bottom of his boat. I don't really have anything that like funny or crazy. I mean, obviously I've gone to the bathroom off their boats and that kind of stuff, but yeah, nothing crazy.
All right, we're gonna take a final break. When we come back, we'll wrap things up with Kyle Patrick, and then we are headed to the water. BTL on a Wednesday. We'll be back right after this.
In 2023, we became a household name in the crappie fishing world thanks to Power Breaks, the game changer. Hey, bass fishing world, buckle up, because you're next. It's going to be fun. Welcome to the next evolution of our product line, Power Breaks Sidekick, designed to install right on your shallow water acres. We are the first and only fishing brake company to offer a breakaway system. Just like with the Game Changer, the Power Brake Sidekick has it as well. And it's not a matter of if you're going to need it, it's when. Power Brakes, the most durable fishing brakes available on the market today. Made right here in the USA with our rock-solid 2-year warranty. Hey, not all fishing brakes are built equally, and you owe it to yourself to find out why ours are different. Power Brake Sidekick. Order yours today at mypowerbrakes.com. You'll be glad you did.
I'm the kind of guy that never leaves the house without a pocket knife, and Gamakatsu's come out with the EDC series of knives. EDC stands for Everyday Carry, so whether you're on the water or off, you can always have it with you. The best thing about it to me is that assisted open feature. With this D2 blade, you've got it right here at your fingertips, so if you can't find your scissors, you need to cut a knot, you need to cut your braid, you've always got it. Make sure you check it out. Never leave home without your Gamakatsu EDC knife.
Born in Japan, using technology, innovation, and precision, Sunline produces the widest selection of fishing lines at the most technologically advanced line factory in the world. Manufactured at the strictest tolerances to produce victories at the highest levels of tournament bass fishing. From household names like Christie, Swindle, and Cruz, to young guns like Cook, Logan, New, and Welcher, they all trust Sunline to take them to the top of the leaderboard. Choose the line that will give you the strength to guarantee your confidence. Sunline.
All right, wrapping things up here on Wednesday with Kyle Patrick. What are you just going to hit a couple different lakes leading up to Friday just to get the Oklahoma vibe and then roll right into practice?
Yeah. We got that little derby today.
I'm the one who thought of that. Now I'm thinking that might not have been such a great idea, but hell, it'll be fun.
It will be fun. And then I think I'm actually going to go to I forget the high school. With Jose from Cass King. I'm going to go to high school and do it, talk with them. Nice. I think that's tonight or maybe tomorrow night. I'm not sure. And then, I'll probably hit, I need to go out, and what I really want to do is go to any lake. It doesn't matter which. And just, I like to idle around, make sure my electronics are dialed in. I know it's only been like a week and a half, but I just like to get comfortable again rather than like really fish, and then, roll out day one, Friday.
This is just proof that you can't you'll never make bass fishing fans happy. There's people out here that are talking about Gerald. The guy's won 2 Angler of the freaking years.
Yeah, he's a hammer.
Decade apart.
Yeah.
Like, tell me anyone else who's been that
Consistent.
relevant for that long.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
No, like Gerald, just to end this, has been nothing but helpful to me throughout my whole career.
I've seen on the post and stuff like that. Gerald.
He's walking go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah.
He's intrigued by it.
Yeah.
Really intrigued by it. I think and the reason I brought up Gerald and Hackney for all the viewers is they are personally my people that I look up to, right?
Yeah.
But also legends of the sport, but still, I'm not going to say young, but like not, Rick Clunn, right? So they have time to adapt. They're adapting to it. They are. But I think they're conflicted just because of, the way it's changing how you fish, because they are so good at flipping shallow, flipping a jig, junk fishing, throwing a crankbait, chatterbait,
coming in with 5, catching that 5th one in the last 20 minutes.
Fifth one, you get jacked up. It's a 3-pounder.
Delaware River.
Yeah, you weigh 16 and it's a giant bag, right?
I mean, dude, look at this last Open though. You had a bunch of guys. You had some guys that were fishing.
Yeah.
Dude, we all got 90% of us got our butts kicked. We're looking at it, dude. You just go and chuck and wind a friggin' chatterbait, and they've slack line.
Yeah, and look at the point shake up. By the way,
yeah, that was nuts. But yeah,
but yeah, they, I think that they have a lot. Like I want to hear them out. I don't think Hackney goes on Instagram much, but I.
You think he's scrolling through the reels on a daily basis?
No. So I DM'd him and I was like, hey, like, because I don't know him like I know Gerald, right?
Yeah.
I want to pick your brain.
Yeah.
I want to have you talk to me like angler to angler now. Like, what is it? Like, give me everything.
Yeah.
I want to know, because as someone who has adopted it, that used to fish the bank solely. That's all I did. That's all I cared about. I thought fishing out deep was stupid. I really did. I want to know.
I just didn't understand where the hell to cast. To be
right?
quite honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
God, there's a lot of options out here.
Yeah. And I said, I want help me. Like, I want you to tell me your thoughts on it, because I value everyone's opinion on the elites as, people I look up to, like I said. So I'm in this year. I plan to walk up to Hackney and be like, talk to me about this. Like, I want to know where you're coming from. Maybe he won't do it.
Offer him a trade. Be like, you show me where you're coming from, and I'll show you where you can use where you're coming from, from where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And we can do a little collab there.
But because like I said, I value these guys' opinions, and I care about, they are what made the sport what it is.
Listen,
today.
I'm a little old school. I'm not opposed to a little intimidation.
Yeah.
A little rookie uncomfortableness. Like I feel like you should be uncomfortable. I feel like you should be slightly intimidated. 100%. I feel like they shouldn't be opening. You're coming in trying to take one of the 100 jobs that's in there, and they've been there, they've done that, they've got the titles. Hackney's won every damn thing except the Bassmaster Classic. And if you want to come in, you got to earn your freaking spot.
100%.
Now, you're around a little bit, you hang around a couple years, you impress them, then you do it. But yeah, I mean,
no, look, I was in a fraternity in college. Okay. I went through that process. Right. So I'm not.
Are they one of the ones that's banned for 3 decades now?
Dude, I am not someone that expects to walk into a new scene. Right.
Yeah.
And I hope it didn't come across that way.
No, it didn't. I asked you the question.
Yeah. Like I in fact think it's good that we're getting a little scrutiny, and it's not a easy transition, because it shouldn't be. If you want to do this for a living, you got to be able to take the heat, right? The highs are high and the lows are low. Like, you got to be able to, take the heat and, all that. That's not where I'm coming from, but that's
it's all
where I'll
good.
leave that.
I think we're clear.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm ready to catch a fish. You ready to go catch a fish?
I want to catch a 7+.
That's very possible.
I've heard. Austin's talked to me about it. He said it's
now you're rolling with Austin though, right? Like,
I don't care.
You're in his boat.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna play co-angler. Apparently he has some technique that we can both do. Like
it's a freaking way we fish the Thursday night.
Yeah.
I gotta have a strategy session with Ledoux before we get done. Dude, I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate the candor, the honesty. Congratulations on making the classic. Enjoy it, soak it all in, and hopefully we're watching you on Sunday and guys are like, man, know a little bit more behind the scenes about what's going on. So greatly appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thanks for having
studio,
me on.
man. All right. Tomorrow we have a good show. Day 4 with Frank Scalish. The guys from Great Lakes Finesse will be on. They'll be dropping a bunch of new stuff at the Classic. We're going to have them on. And then Guide Day returns on Friday with Captain Ben Florentino. It's a really cool show about the guy guides for calico bass out in Southern California on the coast. And there's like a bunch of cool videos. Like they literally punch kelp just like you. Like they go out and you punch the kelp just like you would hydrilla with like a 3-ounce
like
jig.
in the middle of.
No, it's like yeah, I mean it's like kind of bass fishing-y stuff. And you punch like the kelp beds and then it goes dunk and you're like crack them. Then they eat swim baits, they'll eat a spook, all sorts of cool stuff. So that's coming on Friday, and then a full week of shows next week. Also Kyle Austin, who just dominated the Bassmaster Open on Santee Cooper, will be on Monday the 18th. 19th is Pete Robbins for a classic preview. And then stay tuned to my social media and basszone.com for a schedule on where I will be, and also Frank will be for the Bassmaster Classic Expo on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we are headed to the lake. Thanks for everybody. Hit that like, subscribe if you hadn't, leave a review on iTunes. That helps out a lot as we look forward to bringing you more BTL shows. That's all we got for today. We are out. See ya.